This is Lynn Cool from Horse Industry Hype, and I am here at the All American Quarter Horse Congress. And we want to give recognition to one of the primary sponsors of the cutting at the Congress, and that's the Chartier Agency for all your equine insurance needs. And so with me, I have Shelby Agnew. Welcome, Shelby.
You.
So Shelby, so first of all, it's awesome that you're supporting the cutting industry and the cutting industry here in the Midwest. A lot of the focus is on cutting in Texas and that central area. There is a large group of us cutters in the Midwest and horse owners. And equine insurance is a mystery that many of us look at and try to figure out, just which policy we should carry. So Shelby, tell us a little bit first about the Chartier Agency.
The Chartier Agency was started by Scott Chartier. If you're from Michigan, from the Midwest, you probably heard of the Chartier family with Mel and then Randy. Scott Chartier is one of Randy's sons. RL and Cullen are his older brothers. So, of course, everyone knows RL and Cullen. I started with Scott earlier this year as his Midwest equine agent, which is very exciting so we can keep cutting and horse insurance for our cutters up here alive.
Yeah, awesome. And again, it was nice to see you. It was the 25,000 novice non-pro, and you guys were the
Yeah.
class sponsor. So one of the things that I think about when I go to insure my horse is major medical. Can you tell us a little bit about major medical?
Yes, so every equine insurance policy starts with mortality, and major medical is an endorsement that you have the option to add on to your mortality policy. Not everyone chooses to endorse with major medical, but I think one of the biggest questions you should ask yourself if you're not sure is if you can afford potentially thousands in vet bills, because major medical will help cover if something happens to your horse with an injury, maybe colic or an illness. And depending on where you live, vet bills can really stack up, especially if your horse might need to go to a surgery center. In Michigan, your horse, if it gets really sick or gets really hurt, is most likely going to go to one of the universities, and that again can really rack up your cost. So if you know that you might not be able to afford if something happens to your horse and you need to cover these really big vet bills, major medical might help take care of you, might be the best option to add on to your mortality policy.
Yeah, and where I've used my major medical was for a diagnosis on MRI. And there's, some specialty vets that have MRI capabilities, and we were able to diagnose a suspensory that it didn't show up enough on ultrasound or an x-ray, and we needed to retire that horse because she was just very, very fragilely held together. And if we had shown her anymore, it could have been detrimental. So I appreciate having my major medical insurance because it helped cover for the cost of that MRI. But I think that is, for me, it's the life-saving procedures that they have for horses now. I don't know what the exact percentage was of saving a horse that goes through colic surgery, but I know that with the advancement in technology, and I work in the medical industry, the human side of it, that technology is so much better that there's an opportunity to save your horse's life if they go through colic surgery and then still have them be usable. So I think that for me, that's where I've made that decision that I want to have major medical on my policy. One of the things that you and I had mentioned was mortality. Talk a little bit about if your horse unfortunately colics, before you make a decision about treatment or what you're going to do, what do you need to think about as far as your insurance? What's your first call when your horse colics?
One of your first calls should be your vet and your insurance agent. If you might need to make a claim, your insurance company needs to know as soon as possible, because if something happens and they have no idea, they can't help you, and you might jeopardize your claim. And I know some people believe their mortality policy will cover them just no matter what happens, how their horse dies. But there is a condition that requires you to do any reasonable means necessary recommended by your vet to save your horse. So if your horse tragically colics and you need to take it to the surgery center and vet recommends, hey, we can save your horse, it'll be okay, you need to do it. If you choose not to do the surgery, and then your horse dies, then you could seriously jeopardize your mortality claim and what your payout might be. So it's always best to do whatever reasonable means necessary recommended that by the vet you employed to save your horse.
Yeah, so you don't want to humanely euthanize that horse until you have a clear understanding from your insurance agent as to what the consequences are of making that decision. Chartier Agency is based out of Weatherford, Texas, and you're covering the Midwest.
And if anyone is in this area of the Midwest, then of course I would love for them to reach out to me anytime.
So we'll put your contact information on our social media pages, and we'll be sure to share this. And we appreciate sponsorship at the Quarter Horse Congress cutting.
Yeah,
Thank you.
congratulations to all the winners. John Lavelle won the 25 novice non-pro, so
Yeah.
big congratulations to him. Very
Yeah.
exciting.
Yep. Nope. That's awesome.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yay, thank you.